These photos should be reason enough to never drink again.
And this is Jess Paul. Man, giving myself some major vitamin C vibes. Which would have been exactly what I needed last weekend when I decided that it would have been a good idea to drink an entire bottle of wine to myself. That being the first time I had alcohol in probably 8 months since I got my YouTube partnership program. Again, another great way to celebrate monetization, which I suspect this video will be getting none of. I have no way to avoid it. So, liking, subbing, and sharing especially would be the only way that anyone would see this video. Because I wanted to have fun putting together my utility shelves, consequently paying for it for the rest of the weekend when I had a hangover most of Saturday and a cold most of Sunday. And gathering that I haven't been sick more than maybe like twice during the entire time I've lived in California, I feel like it had something to do with tanking my immune system with a bottle of Charity sparkling rosé. I regret it almost every time. And I know that not liking alcohol makes me seem uncool to a lot of people. It makes me seem like I have less fun. I don't think that's true. I have my own expandingly legal indulgence of choice that I like to indulge in. And today I'm going to tell you my worst drunk stories, as well as my worst high stories to make it even. I do want to say I am no kind of expert and do not promote either of these substances, but I do want to speak from my own experience. I'm always very honest on this channel, so whether you like alcohol, you hate weed, or vice versa, these are my stories. So for my first alcohol bad story, we're going to go back to when I used to have a social life. I mean, we all did at one time. One of my exes had a rock band, and I used to go to pretty much every show that I physically could. Some of the times I would go to these bars and venues and have a drink or two, but mostly I would pregame with my good friend Mary Jane. But one time we went to where my ex actually worked, as well as was in the band that played there that night. Some of the venues in my hometown in Pittsburgh were in a range of we found a hole in the wall and we're going to play here to kind of exciting places to be. There was a huge crowd there, and because my ex worked there, a lot of his co-workers were excited to meet me, I suppose, whatever their intentions were, and they wanted to treat me well. So when I ordered my drink of choice, the female bartenders seemed to give me like double shots every single time, and since they tasted so good with all of the flavor and sugar that most good bartenders try to hide the terrible taste of really any alcohol in, I was off my ass for most of the night. I ended up embarrassing myself for telling the singer's girlfriend how beautiful I always thought she was, and then proceeded to ride a handrail for a song during my boyfriend's set. Now you might be thinking, you know what, Jessica, you can make that story up. Why would we even believe that you prominently got in the center of the dance floor, straddled an arm rail that went up to a ramp, and embarrassed yourself? Well, it's because I have photo proof. I gotta say, the photo is actually pretty cool, but when I realized how I behaved that night, I was pretty mortified, and a lot of my friends encouraged that I should feel that way. Because that's the thing with alcohol. Like, when I indulge in cannabis, I feel like I'm more thoughtful, I'm more attentive, and I just want to talk to people. When I drink, I feel like I embarrass myself. I feel like I do things that I never would in normal, sober times, and alcohol makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat?
Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, you went on all during the Wrecked Radio episode about that Deftones tequila. Believe me, I think that that's a really cool product, and I'd love to have it on my shelf because it's such a collector's edition, and maybe my other friends who could indulge more than me would appreciate it when they're over my house post-apocalypse. That does remind me of probably the only time I actually did sort of blackout. But in my senior year of college, me and my friends used to actually get together and cook a lot because they had their own house and kitchen off campus. And I remember us cooking, I want to say it was like a spaghetti bake. No one had ever told me about the don't mix your alcohols rule. Like, not only are you not supposed to mix white and red wine, you also are not supposed to mix wine with tequila, which I did. As well as with sake. We went international. I don't even know why we did that. It was literally like, find any alcohol that's available to you in the house and enjoy. Like, there are missing parts in that night. I remember at one point we were all sitting in the living room without our pants. I don't think anything happened. In fact, we weren't even sitting very close to each other. It's just like we just all of a sudden had our pants near our ankles. And then at the end of the night, I also remember my friend walking me to the edge of the street towards my dorms right before he puked in front of my shoes and then went back home. For the next day, I was in utter agony as I puked my guts out for 6 hours straight. Now, after the first couple times I puked, you would guess that I would have emptied my stomach, especially because I couldn't eat anything that day. I couldn't get anything down because it would come right up. And the latter throw up sessions, which came like every 15 minutes, was nothing, was bile. I was just turning my oh my God, and I had a shared bathroom. That wasn't a good day for roomie on the other side. But even though I kept heaving, I kept needing to the heaving, and nothing came out, it just still wouldn't stop. So I finally had to pick myself up out of bed, get dressed in something somewhat presentable, and go to the infirmary to just ask, what can you do about this? They actually gave me a shot that would just stop me from feeling the need to throw up, which I still to this day don't know what that was. And they gave me a little bit of a scolding to not do something like that again. And I said, okay. But yeah, that was stupid. So in the spirit of fairness, I'm going to give you a bad high story that I've had before. Of course, I've had bad trips. I've had bad nights. It's a lesson we learn with every substance that we try to take, if we survive them. But as a general rule, I know about myself that I do not do very well with any kind of bong. It's way too much stimulation at once, and I end up freaking out, and honestly one time almost wanted to not jump out of a window, but stick my head out of a window so that I could breathe, which is a common theme that I have. I can always talk myself down because I know that it's all psychological, but sometimes when your body is doing certain things, it's kind of hard to convince yourself that you're 100% okay. In this instance, I was with another ex, and I was spending the weekend at his house, which he shared with, I want to say, like 4 other guys, and one of these guys had a gravity bong. Now, I'm not that well versed in bongs in general, but a gravity bong is made from, oh, this is so backwoods. I believe it's made from like a 2-liter like Pepsi bottle. And if I'm remembering correctly, it's akin to kind of like an Irish car bomb. You're dropping one piece of it into another and then inhaling that. Well, I did that a time or two too many and ended up retiring up to my ex's room, where I was trying to talk myself down from thinking that I couldn't breathe on my own if I didn't think about it. Like, I couldn't go to sleep because I was convinced that I wouldn't remember to breathe. And since my ex was drunk, he wasn't much help at all. When he came up, he wanted to have sex with me, which I wasn't opposed to at the time. But because we were both so sloppy, we tried to use like drinking water as lubricant, which that doesn't work. As for events where I had amazing highs, Like all of the rest. This one girl who honestly I thought absolutely hated me and was an absolute bitch to everybody, she actually shared an amazing like cookie brownie, like a blondie, with me and my ex, and I almost thought to a degree she was trying to sabotage me and give me a bad trip by giving me this cookie that had a lot. It had to have so much in it. But what I ended up doing was not shut up, basically. Autumn campfire with an outdoors projector playing a movie on it. And I probably was a bit of a nuisance because I really wanted to talk to this friend that I was standing next to. And the host of the party was like, Jess, you want to take a seat? This was though like the second or third time she asked me that. And I finally said, no, I don't want to take a seat. I want to stand. I want to talk. I want to like run all around this yard. And I guess a lot of, my experiences are just my experiences and my memories. When I'm indulging in cannabis, I feel like a lot doesn't matter. A lot of waiting, something you might be bored with, you're just kind of enjoying the moment and things can move slowly and it's no big deal. You're just at peace. Man, I even remember smoking and before I was going to meet some friends, and me and my ex were driving through one of the loveliest parts of Pittsburgh. Are you gonna cry? Are you gonna cry, Jessica, at this moment? When the leaves were changing, they were in every different stage of color. They were right there, so vibrant. And we drove down the street. It was not even a very long street. And I just kind of looked up at every single color. Because when you see some colors in nature, they don't even compare to what you can see on a computer screen because it's just surrounding you. One of the most exemplary, stories about kind of what I do when I do indulge in cannabis is that me and my friend Bob, we were meeting up for the first time since he had moved to California, and obviously I had just come here. So we had dinner and he was kind of giving me the tour, answering my questions and everything, and it was so nice to see him because we always have such good conversations. So after dinner, we smoked a bit and drove over to still one of my favorite places in this whole city. You guys won't be surprised. It's called the NoHo Diner, and it's this place, if you haven't been, that is, it's retro. It's food, its breakfast bar where you would sit is like short and small and metal. It's so old, it must have been there forever. And they also have this plethora of what you assume are autographed pictures of celebrities, old, black and white, old, all kinds. I looked around and I realized most of the pictures that were on the walls, they didn't even have autographs. It was just as if like they printed them off the computer, or back in the day they could send in for a nice photograph, a nice headshot of the actors. That's more likely probably what it is. It had to be late into the night, and we had been catching up on all aspects of our lives, and we got to that point where we were feeling good. We were sitting in a booth, and we ended up going through our top 5 lists from 5 to 1 of our favorite types of pie. And why we like those kinds of pies. And it was just such a beautiful memory of coming here and being kind of welcomed into the city by the friends that I do have from back home. And I'll never forget it. I know that everybody, has their own ideas and their own preferences and their own points of view when it comes to substances. I definitely do. And I really respect everybody's personal experiences. No person is the same. No person reacts to things the same. Even with my cannabis use, I feel like it's helped me so much, and to quell the anxiety that doesn't go away with having a career like I do, where so much of my success is built upon people accepting me or wanting me to be there, including the one producer who I did get drunk with and walked into a door in front of. I'm not really that close to that producer anymore, since he himself indulged so much in alcohol that he was calling me at 2 a.m, even though we didn't really know each other that well, and I didn't know what he wanted from me, so we don't really talk anymore. My question of the day is, like, what do you prefer? But I don't want to incriminate you if you don't want to. In the comments below. Oh. We ran into my beautiful, useless trampoline over there. But tell me a story, your worst story of when you were inebriated by something. You don't have to say the substance. In fact, don't, because that might get me even more demonetized. The camera cut out as it landed on, I hope that you guys believe me, that it landed on spooky shit, which I'm all for it. As for our social seance of the day, we're actually going to be talking about this lovely lady here, and we're going to be going back to my Twitter. Let's bypass all of the drunk tweeting, thank you, because I asked you guys a while ago what I should name my pretty black and red custom trampoline that, as you learned, I cannot use until I move out of this apartment, which might be soon. I have a lot on my plate right now. But here are some fantastically creative names that you guys came up with for my favorite thing I've pretty much ever bought, even though I can't use it. She has a big Lilith energy. I can see that! You know, she's kind of evil. She's a little bit, she's got a dark side to her. I understand that. Scarlet, I mean, pretty on the nose. Like, we've got some reds here. If I named everything that I own by its color, oh my god, we'd have a lot of off reds. Wanda, looks like somebody's been watching too much Disney Plus. Lady, get it? That's why the lady is a tramp. Oh, goodness, Richard, you do know that I really enjoy punology. Jess Paul and the Tramp. Wait, that's a movie title parody. Pauline! Like Paul. Oh my god. That's it. That's it. It's Pauline. What else would it be? That's way too punny. Pauline the Tramp. I'm sorry for everybody who also gave really clever reviews, but Azure Cloud wins that round. If you need another one of my drunk stories in your life, you can watch this video here where I told you about my worst injuries that I've ever had, where I actually got a scar in college from being a drunk idiot. And then you can watch this one here where I decluttered my makeup bag while having a hangover. So relevant. I hope you enjoy. I hope you want to stay. And this is my outro.